Bobbity bobbity boo. Hey, everybody, for watching this as a rerun, you can skip ahead 14 minutes till we start with the regular program on the radio side. Just getting this set up for audio and what have yous. Okay. Shut that light off behind me. All right. Morning, Waylon. Josh, good morning. I better get my stuff set up here. I'm behind on the times here. Oh, let's see what else going on here in their life here. Brian, good morning. Oh, man. Might need to do an update to some of my Apple equipment. Karen, good morning. Good to have you along down that south side, or north side of it depends on where you're talking. She go there. Got that going on. All right. All right, Dave, hold on there. Let me open that up here. I see in the Western Livestock Journal that Colorado is making plans to release more wolves. Really? I haven't seen that. I'll look into that. Wouldn't surprise me any. Really wouldn't. I'm guessing they're going to do it undercover really, really quick before Trump gets on the EPA side of things here. All right. The hell is I going to do? Morning ivermectin time. It is curious to me. Okay, whether it's a placebo thing that I'm like, you know what, this is really helping me. Hey, if it's a placebo thing, I'm good with it. Okay. The mind can be a very strong thing sometimes. And if I truly believe it's working, and it is, why not, right? But it's interesting. I see a lot of ivermectin like ads now on social media formats. Again, it's I see more and more. I see more people doing it. I see some people that are battling cancer that are starting to take it, and all of a sudden, bam, things changed in their last from one doctor visit to the next. So interesting is what I'm saying. Jim, good morning. Mr. Bulgy, good morning. Oh, let's see. I haven't checked my weather update here today. There's it here. Since they put a weather station on top of our hill out here. Let's see here. It's only 23 right now, 27 degrees right now. Okay. And we had a little squall of wind come through last night. It was a little bit stout. Are you going to the stock show? I would like to. It all depends on how things are going here. I do have tickets for the Bullfighters only tonight. So we're going to try to bust out and head down and then come back here. So that might be my only day. Usually I spend a few days down there, but having some things have come up at the ranch. So cheers to you. Next weekend I got bull sales, so I can't go next weekend. This weekend is like the only weekend I don't have a bull sale. Is that right? I got my weekends mixed up. I don't know. Yeah, bull sales. Let's see. I'll try have one for you when I get there. Okay. Well, I'm sure one will go down. You might as well have three. Morning, Mr. Mayor. Good morning. Hey, better get my guy on the line here. 658, station 658 on Mark. There we go. I'm going to set my status. I think I'd remember these. I don't.
Good morning, Mr. Bachmeyer.
Morning, Mr. Muth.
How you doing today?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah. So I'm just reading here,
Good.
Todd Mitchell, you're drinking flavored water. I poured out your ivermectin a long time ago. I'll tell you this, right here, I bought this the beginning when it started, right? When everybody was at 20, what was it?
2020,
2020 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I bought this bottle, and in close to 4.5 years, right there is all it out of the whole thing. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, that's
Well,
it. That's at 2 cc's once a week.
and you're still here.
I'm still here. I was supposed to die a long time, and one of the ex-game wardens said I was supposed to die a long time ago.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny.
Go figure, huh? All right,
Good.
stations. Hold on there. Station 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock on top of the hour. Coming up here shortly. Eric, good morning. Good to have you along here this morning. Station 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock Central on Mark. All right. Now we got 5.5 minutes to preview here. Ooh.
Yeah. So you got, would you say 27 degrees is what?
That's what it says this morning down here. Yeah, 27.
Yeah. I looked, it was 22 here and light winds, so it's kind of nice.
Well, we got wind last night, like around
8,
9 o'clock. It came through with a vengeance, and then about 2 o'clock this morning, it settled back down.
Yeah. I think it was a little bit later for us here. We had wind was just howling. We were about going to bed, and then a little bit later they just quit. And it was like, wow, a little storm come through of some sort. But we'll take this nicer weather before the stuff next week.
Starting, so down in this area, we have a chance of snow here on Saturday night, and about an inch or so in this area. As further south you go, a little bit more. And let's see, then it's like highs of 0. So, again, a little bit. But Jim Elbers, 35, and wind down in his side. Yeah. It'd be interesting.
Did I say
roads I've been checking the road reports more this year than I ever have.
Yeah, we haven't had a lot of snow.
No.
Like Judy was saying something about the third least amount of snow ever or something so far. But yeah. But it'd be nice to get some moisture. At least hope we get some spring rains. I tell you, it's gonna be nice. But
we need rain in April and May, man. We really do.
Yep. I mean, your wildlife that's out there, the picture I sent you last night, you could tell it's a healthy.
Yeah.
Seems like a healthy herd. I mean, they're holding their antlers a little longer, and for the most part, and so we could talk about that.
They are healthier. The deer that I have seen have definitely looked a lot healthier than previous years. But it's it's interesting. I sat and talked for about a half hour with my government trapper. That's over. He's getting a head start in my calving area, all those draws and what have you over in that neck of the woods. And it's interesting how what he sees in the Fish and Wildlife Service compared to what Game and Fish say. It's like talking to two different agencies. It really is. So it's interesting that they have that much difference between the two. I'd say Gene Cox. Gene says we can't have snow between February 10th and 20th. I'm driving to Phoenix. Well, good grief. You're driving south. You're going to get better as you go south.
I hope so too, because we're planning a similar trip about that same time, as a matter of fact.
Are you going to be a snowbird, Wayne, or are you going to move down south for a few months?
My friend that does mounted shooting, he and his wife have a place down in Mesa.
Nice.
And we are going to go down and hang out for a few days. There's about what is it, 9 days worth of shoots down there that we're going to take in
Yeah.
several of those. And
you're gonna compete, aren't you?
Yep, we're
Yeah.
competing down there.
You
So,
know that
yep.
I didn't realize how many people around this area go down to the Arizona area. And
Oh, I know.
they take a horse with them and they go get into ropings. Like every day there's a roping down there. I didn't realize
Yeah.
that.
Down in Wickenburg, it's like every day you can go to ropings down there.
Well, that's
Yeah.
good. That's good. Master John says, good morning. Gene says, Raton Pass and Flagstaff get dicey. And it says, Wayne, you will be at Ben Avery. Will you be at Ben Avery?
No, we are going to be down in Queens Creek, which is south of Mesa. And I'm not sure where Ben Avery's at, but I don't believe that's where we're going to be. So,
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, it'll be fun. It's going to be something new for us to try. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, February is the good one to take off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I got a continuing education I have to do down in San Antonio at the end of the month. So I'll be.
Oh.
You know, if anybody wants to jump in and take my show for that, I can tell you the weekend. February be 22nd.
Yeah, I'd consider doing it, but I think we're still going to be in Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a lot of people get down there, and that's my friend who goes down there every year, and he stays for several months. All he does is rope, but he's a really good team roper. He told me a few years ago, he said, we came back and checked out our books and see how I did. And the wife said, you want the good news or the bad news first? And he said, well, give me the good news. He said, well, you won like $29,000 worth of winnings. And he asked, well, what's the bad news? He said, you spent $27,000 on beer.
I was thinking $29,000 on horse stables and feed and everything else here. So yeah, no doubt. All right, Wayne, we got 30 seconds here. Okay, stand by. I'm going to turn you down here. Stations 30 seconds on mark. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday edition of Dakota Prairie Outdoors, heard all across the Dakota Territory. All great radio stations like K-Fire 550, Bismarck, Mandan area, KCJB in Minot, KLTC Dickinson, KOLY Mobridge, and the capital city in South Dakota, Pierce, South Dakota, KGFX. Good to have you along here this morning as we sit back and enjoy another Saturday, another hopefully across the entire Dakota Territory, a warmer day. As it looks like the weather's going to turn next week a little bit more. It's kind of been a roller coaster of that. Before I get started here, first and foremost, my guest is going to be Wayne Muth here this morning. Wayne, good morning. And the executive producer of content for Ranch America. He's the official scorer for Pope and Young. And we have a shared friend by the name of Levi Nelson. You know him.
Yes, I do. You bet.
He said, Scott, I need a favor. Make sure to mention this on your show in the morning. It says you're invited to our African safari party, February 24th at Midway Lanes in Mandan from 4 to 9 for an unforgettable evening with TDK Safaris, where you can get major discounts if you want to get in on safari packages and special rates and all that. So, yeah, I would love to do that. I would love to go to Africa and hunt on a safari type of thing. But here's what scares me is, and this is, Levi will be able to answer these questions for you. Are there trophy fees? And, there's a lot of stuff. If you buy one at an auction, you have to ask the questions, right? Are there trophy fees, or what can you hunt? What can't you hunt? What's it take to get them back? What's it take to take a rifle over? Those are the questions that you can ask them there at Midway Lane. So So there you go. Wayne, good morning. Welcome to the
Right.
program.
Well, good morning to you, Scott. How's everything down in western part of the state?
Well, we have had a few days of above freezing temperatures. So it's melted a little bit of the snow off, especially on the south facing slopes, of course. You know that. I mean, those gumbo hills and the canyons, they get a little bit warmer than the rest of it. But yeah, it's definitely getting closer and closer to calving time. I got the Fish and Wildlife Service out trapping in my calving area and snaring. So we've been doing that. We got my thermal imaging scope has been going on being on the charger for quite a bit here. So yeah, it's that time of the day to prep for that time of the year to prep for the calving side of things on the ranch. So how about you? What have you been up to?
Excuse me. Just routine things here. We're kind of getting ready for a little trip down south. Um, been out looking at some deer and, it's a slower time of year for all of us, it seems like. And now you can get things done at home when you can with the colder weather and such. But yeah, it's looking at quite a few things. Like you said, mentioned the coyotes. I mean, the coyotes, I talked to one of the buyers the other day and he's talking about the price of coyotes and what's out there and actually what's not out there for prices because there's not a lot,
Yeah.
and looking at getting out and doing some shed hunting here in the near future. We'll talk about that too.
Yep.
And we're seeing some that I saw a buck the other day that he had shed one antler probably a few days before. It was black scabbed over, and the other one was bright red where he had just shed it or something. So they're dropping out there slowly. I think we talked about earlier the deer being a little healthier, so maybe they'll hold them a little bit longer, is
Well,
what they say.
let's talk about this. So the deer are being a little bit healthier. Granted, uh,
Mhm.
population changes no matter where you are in North or South Dakota. The population changes unit by unit. I think some are good. Some populations are holding good, climbing back from EHD. Some places had EHD last year, and like out in my area, we had it about 4 years ago. It just decimated a lot of things, made things sick. And then we had a couple of hard winters on top of that. It didn't really help the mule deer. So, and the deer I have been seeing, which are very few and far between, definitely look good. I mean, it's been an open winter, but what worries me, I looked at the drought monitor and the
Mhm.
forecast doesn't look good for the southwestern corner of the western side of the state all the way through South Dakota. It doesn't look good, right? They're predicting another heavy drought, like in the high level here coming in this year. What is that going to do? I mean, if they look healthy now, how is that going to affect the deer throughout the summer months too?
Well, what it does, they're giving the deer a good head start at least. So,
Right.
and that's really critical for the bucks, especially when they come out of rut. If they can be healthy coming out of rut and start getting some forage and some feed into them, that'll really contribute to good antler growth as they're coming into the spring. But we saw it a few years ago too, where they looked really good during the year, early in the year. We had good moisture, then all of a sudden we had dry July and August, and the antlers just kind of stunted or not and didn't grow anymore.
Stunted
And
them, yeah.
yeah, and it's like you didn't get that finish that you'd like to. I think on those things,
Yeah.
and I think that's what we could probably watch and look for. But I would even think that even the population, if you get a really dry year and the food conditions aren't good on the landscape, the groceries aren't good there for the does putting up fawns. Fawn survival may be impacted as well, but that's where you need some moisture and need it in the spring and get them a good start.
So is this a concern here? I'm going to tell you what in my head is concerning me. I look at the deer looking good right now and what's there. Now, EHD, we know that that's an issue when things get dry, ponds get stale with the water that doesn't get anything new flushing into it, and you get those midges in there, and that's what causes that EHD, right?
Yep.
That's what scares me going into this year. If we have another outlook of a dry year and those ponds and dugouts or dams or even like the Little Missouri River, whatever it may be, it gets stale and you get that stale water. And, uh, you look at a drought coming up, there is a potential that we might not have another EHD outbreak coming up this year if we have a outlook for a dry year.
Yeah, exactly. you hate to see those kind of predictions, that's for sure, because we look at our landscape, and we had the EHD year in 2020, and then I was talking to a friend of mine, and we're going, okay, wow, what we saw is so many deer killed out in the field, and now the ones that are coming back, the antler growth in some areas are very good because there's a lot more food on the landscape because there's less deer, and especially in smaller areas. And you've seen it more so in other states where they're not as much acreage, and where they're seeing that, boy, some big deer have been taking. And talking with the Boone and Crockett guys, that's what they recognize as well.
Really?
In certain counties, yeah. So that when there's more groceries on the ground, the deer will gain bigger antlers, but there's going to be fewer of them.
Yeah.
Of course, until they build it up. And we're seeing it come around pretty well, I think, in our area. I did some whitetail hunting in the river bottoms last year, and passed on a couple bucks that were those medium-sized bucks that it just wasn't worth shooting because of the numbers. But I think they're going to be coming back okay. But we can't have another drought like you mentioned.
No, not at all. Well, we're up against our first break. Wayne Muth is my guest. If you have questions, comments, feel free to call in if you would like. 888-9-DAKOTA. That's 888-932-5682. Toll-free call. You're going to automatically be put on hold, and we'll get to your call as soon as we can. Or you can message me live through my YouTube channel or my phone, 701-425-6651. Again, the African Safari Party, February 24th at Midway Lanes, Mandan, North Dakota. If you want more information, call Levi Nelson. We'll be back with more information, talking sheds, talking deer, talking elk, antler prices. Holy moly. Maybe that's something that a guy needs to get in for an extra income, too. We'll be back after these. The Wasum Red Angus annual production sale coming up on Thursday, February 20th, 2 p.m. Mountain Time at the Wicks Barn south of Richardson, North Dakota. Selling nearly 70 bulls with sire power from WSM Playmaker, Asset 1276, and many more. Also selling will be 130 open commercial heifers plus 13 open registered heifers. For more information and videos, go to wasumredangus.com. And you can always bid with confidence on sale day at DV Auction. For powerful, profitable, and practical cattle, I'll see you at the 14th annual Wasum Red Angus sale, Thursday, February 20th, 2 p.m. at the Wicks Barn, south of Richardson. Bowman Livestock Marketing, serving the tri-state area for all of your livestock marketing needs. Eastern Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota. You can be sure of great care for your cattle and top price at sale time. Call Austin Snook at 307-290-2161. That's 307-290-2161 for more information or just to talk cattle markets. You can also find them on Facebook and go to their website, bowmanlivestockmarketing.com. Smith's Saddle Butte Ranch President's Day Bull Sale is Monday, February 17th, 1 p.m. Mountain Time at the Bowman Livestock Marketing, Bowman, North Dakota. Selling 60 registered yearling Angus bulls, sires like Baldridge Goalkeeper, Hoover Know-How, Objective 292, 44 Strategic Advantage, plus many others. Travis and Rebecca want to work with producers to give you the opportunity for a value-added program. Bid online at Cattle USA. Smith's Saddle Butte Ranch President's Day Bull Sale, Monday, February 17th, 1 p.m. at Bowman Livestock. Quality bulls without the BS.
I'm Dale Paulke with Dakota Community Bank and Trust, your trusted partner in ag lending. With our deep understanding and appreciation for the Western way of life, we proudly accept, respect, and promote the values that define our community. Whether you're a farmer, rancher, or business owner, we are here to support your financial needs and help you thrive. Choose Dakota Community Bank and Trust for all your banking needs.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
Equal housing lender.
Piper's Auction and Realty would like to invite you to the next round of land auctions coming up in Mercer County, 589 acres. In Grant and Sioux counties, 1,952 acres. Another 160 acres in Renville County and 636 acres in Bottineau County. Along with that, the Upper Midwest timed online auction starting to close February 12th. For more information and to bid online, go to pifers.com. There's a reason you're seeing more Red Angus cattle in the country. Great mama cows, high weaning weights, and easy keepers. With a family that bases their entire operation on faith, honesty, and trust. You can see those values in their 30-plus years in the Red Angus breed. Schriefer Red Angus, the breed that generates a positive return on investment. SchrieferRedAngus.com. This portion of the program is brought to you by Freedom Repair. Whether it's a tractor, baler, your cutter, your combine, or air seeder, Freedom Repair comes to you and helps you get fixed up and back in the field. 19 plus years experience. Give Lucas Kelly a call at 701-440-1945. That's 701-440-1945. Freedom Repair, veteran owned and operated. MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Mo Rest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer. Western Frontier Insurance, agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or talking animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered with price in mind. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, Wilton, Bowman, and Hettinger. Piper's Auction and Realty would like to invite you to the next round of land auctions coming up in Mercer County, 589 acres. In Grant and Sioux counties, 1,952 acres. Another 160 acres in Renville County and 636 acres in Bottineau County. Along with that, the Upper Midwest timed online auction starting to close February 12th. For more information and to bid online, go to pifers.com.
On that road, but don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes, I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition. All across Dakota Territory, around the world on my YouTube channel. Thanks for my subscribers and listeners on the YouTube side. I do appreciate that very much. Well, coming up here, Wayne Muth is my guest as we kind of sit back and discuss antlers. Let's move it in. You know, we're talking deer and health. You know, we see a couple whitetail maybe shedding their antlers right now. And everybody, I enjoy shed hunting as much as into the next person. But I didn't realize this, Wayne, that there are states, Idaho just started, I just seen this last night, that in Idaho, you now, non-residents need a valid big game hunting license in order to go after horns, or antlers, I should say, from deer, elk, moose, horns from pronghorns. Some states are moving it up and making you pay a little bit more if you're a non-resident. And places like Montana, there's certain legalities. You know, Wyoming is a $22 fee. Nevada, Utah, you got to have a shed hunting education license as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, Montana has different closures of dates. Colorado, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, they all have seasons on this. So how long is it before? I mean, first, what do you think of the season dates? What do you think of charging people to do this? And what do you think?
You know, I think it's a good resource, I think, for the Game and Fish departments to do it. I don't have a problem with them charging these small fees to it. I don't know about Idaho to have a big game license. That's a little bit much, but when you
could you imagine? I mean, a non-resident hunting license in Utah might be like $500.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But you look at the cost of, I mean, what you can get for some of these antlers. If you get out there and really do well, you could probably make some money off it. But I don't think that's the point that people are out there chasing them for. But it's kind of crazy. You know, I like the season piece, especially in these places that there's a lot of elk, and you have these, the wildlife management areas where, like Montana, they don't open up until May 15th, and you see this line of cars and people camping out and ready to get in these management areas as soon as the gates open, and they go running in there or riding in with horses and such. And it's a pretty big event, and some people say they like it more than hunting. So
yeah. Well, let me ask you this then. I feel that there's a couple different ways that people are shed hunting right now. There's the you and I who love to go out and grab them. We see them, and it's like, that's pretty cool. Then you got the commercial people that do it just for business only, and they will scour everywhere, and that's how they make their living, and they sell them for quite a bit of money. Now, on the other note, you know, is it going to be coming? You know, if those people might start trespassing or going into places that they're not allowed to a little bit early, try to get away with it. You know what I'm saying? There's always the
Right.
bad apples sometimes.
Right.
And I think the
Exactly.
commercial side of it is becoming more and more on the shed antler side, because you see a lot of these people, they are against hunting, but they really like the antlers and they're paying
Yeah.
for them. I mean, they're paying up
Right.
for them.
Right. Yeah, they do. And you know, and I was checking as you and I were talking during the break. I checked antler shed prices that buyers are buying them for. Now, if you get something that's really a top, let's say a great big shed that's dark brown, you know, you could get $15 a pound for those things, and it depends on the size of those, how heavy they are. But I mean, that all adds up. And then they drop down into the good and ordinary are the at $11 and $13 a pound, and it drops down. And you can get, you know, you can find them that have been laying out there for a couple of years, and they're kind of chalky,
Yep.
and they'll still pay a couple dollars a pound for those as well. And deer are the same.
Yep.
Deer are the
Yep.
same thing. And if you have now one of the buyers told me, he said he sold a close to Boone and Crockett set of antlers, meaning that it was attached to the skull, for over $2,000 to somebody just on the street that came up and wanted to buy it from them.
Yeah.
So there's money. Excuse me. There's money in this. And
Well,
now,
I'll tell you. Okay, I'm on Etsy.com. Okay. Just for the first 4 that come up on Etsy, which is an online, I thought it was for like crafters, but it must be for everything. All right, here's a set of antlers, still intact, you know, just the skull cap. Okay. $3,000. There's another one for $3,350. Just the sheds itself, smaller sheds, $500. Another set for $900. But when I looked at the most expensive set ever sold, a world record set of antlers went on auction for $121,000.
Yeah.
And like
amazing.
like New Mexico, you know, $25,000 was the original purchase price of them, and they ended up selling for $121,000 down the road. So there's some money to be made out there on this. And what worries me is once you get so much money put into it, people are going to start kind of bending the law a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, a lot of people are using dogs, and I think they're legal in most areas. Not sure about drones, how they're handling those, but yeah, there's some of them are trying to get in on some of these game ranches and such, game farms, while, you know, sneaking in. I've heard of that before, but yeah, it's an interesting concept. It's a great outdoor activity, and people really do a lot of the family things with the shed hunting and whatnot. And I really caution people, and I like I mentioned, I do like the seasons where they get limited to only going out there in May 1st or May 15th. A couple of them have been, because, you know, where I look for sheds is going to be more in some of the trails leading to and from bedding areas, along fence lines and such like that, field edges. But if you're into their bedding areas and it's this time of year, you don't want to be bumping these deer around too much and stressing them out. Now, as we spoke, our deer are pretty healthy this year. So it's, you know, if they get bumped a few times, it's probably not going to be the end of the world. But in some of those years where it's really cold and you have a lot of snow, you stress these deer, and you know, the antler growth is less on bucks if they're stressed out during the winter, and the fawn production is not as good and healthy coming off the does. So, I mean, you know, be cautious about where you're at and where you're looking for these, and yeah, it's still fun though. It's a lot of fun, and there's some money to be made if you want to sell any. I've never sold one. I can't get myself to sell one because I just like having them around. Now, my wife says you should get rid of a bunch of them because they're all over. So, but haven't done that yet.
Yeah. It depends on what they look like. I sell a lot of the smaller ones off, and the chalkies, I get rid of a lot of those, and try to, you know where they go to, don't you? You know where these antlers go to overseas in China. You know what they use them for?
Yeah, I do. The
aphrodisiac,
aphrodisiac, the enhancement stuff. So, hey, have you ever found an antelope sheath?
I have. Yes, very rare that I find one, but I do find one once in a while.
Yeah, I think I found one in my life, and just to to take a step back, horns and antlers, there's a difference, and I think most people know about it. Antlers, they're from the deer family, so it's the elk and moose and caribou and of course your whitetail deer, mule deer. They're made of true bone and they're shed every year, and only the males grow antlers, except some exceptions with, you'll find a mutant someday, but
can you say that now?
Caribou.
You can't say mutant anymore. It's a transgender deer.
Oh, is it? Okay, that's what it is. Well, no, we're getting rid of that DEI.
Oh, that's
crap,
right.
so,
That's right. Okay, it's a mutant.
So we're okay.
All right, mutant.
But actually, the female caribou will grow antlers, and then on the horn side, it's the bighorns, the pronghorn, the goats, and both the males and females grow horns on those, and they have a keratin or a hair type of horn that's growing, and it continues to grow. It's kind of like fingernails, and there's an interior bone structure in there. It's like the horn itself, and the outside is just the sheath. And antelope are the only ones who shed that sheath. And a lot of people don't know that.
Yep.
It's amazing how fast they grow back too. None of them shed except that little sheath on the antelope. So once in a while you can come across and find those, but it's pretty rare. Pretty rare.
It is. I think coyotes chew them up. I think they like to eat them.
Yeah.
Right when they drop them, I think they must be a good protein in them or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, antelope. I think I got maybe 2 of them in the last 20 years, I think I found. But Wayne, up against our second break, we'll come back in the second half. I got one question about seasons on shed hunting. Remind me about that as we come back in the second half of the program. Dakota Prairie Outdoors on a Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, the start of the Black Hills Stock Show as well. If you're in the South Dakota Black Hills area, on the Rapid City side, a lot of events going on for the next week and a half down that way too. Back with more Dakota Prairie Outdoors right after these messages. The Wasum Red Angus annual production sale coming up on Thursday, February 20th, 2 p.m. Mountain Time at the Wicks Barn south of Richardson, North Dakota. Selling nearly 70 bulls with sire power from WSM Playmaker, Asset 1276, and many more. Also selling will be 130 open commercial heifers plus 13 open registered heifers. For more information and videos, go to wasumredangus.com. And you can always bid with confidence on sale day at DV Auction. For powerful, profitable, and practical cattle, I'll see you at the 14th annual Wasum Red Angus sale, Thursday, February 20th, 2 p.m. at the Wicks Barn, south of Richardson. Bowman Livestock Marketing, serving the tri-state area for all of your livestock marketing needs. Eastern Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota. You can be sure of great care for your cattle and top price at sale time. Call Austin Snook at 307-290-2161. That's 307-290-2161 for more information or just to talk cattle markets. You can also find them on Facebook and go to their website, bowmanlivestockmarketing.com. Smith Saddle Butte Ranch President's Day Bull Sale is Monday, February 17th, 1 p.m. Mountain Time at the Bowman Livestock Marketing, Bowman, North Dakota. Selling 60 registered yearling Angus bulls, sires like Baldridge Goalkeeper, Hoover Know-How, Objective 292, 44 Strategic Advantage, plus many others. Travis and Rebecca want to work with producers to give you the opportunity for a value-added program. Bid online at Cattle USA. Smith Saddle Butte Ranch President's Day Bull Sale, Monday, February 17th, 1 p.m. at Bowman Livestock. Quality bulls without the BS.
I'm Dale Paulke with Dakota Community Bank and Trust, your trusted partner in ag lending. With our deep understanding and appreciation for the Western way of life, we proudly accept, respect, and promote the values that define our community. Whether you're a farmer, rancher, or business owner, we are here to support your financial needs and help you thrive. Choose Dakota Community Bank and Trust for all your banking needs.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
Equal housing lender.
Piper's Auction and Realty would like to invite you to the next round of land auctions coming up in Mercer County, 589 acres. In Grant and Sioux counties, 1,952 acres. Another 160 acres in Renville County and 636 acres in Bottineau County. Along with that, the Upper Midwest timed online auction starting to close February 12th. For more information and to bid online, go to pifers.com. There's a reason you're seeing more Red Angus cattle in the country. Great mama cows, high weaning weights, and easy keepers. With a family that bases their entire operation on faith, honesty, and trust. You can see those values in their 30-plus years in the Red Angus breed. Schriefer Red Angus, the breed that generates a positive return on investment. SchrieferRedAngus.com. This portion of the program is brought to you by Freedom Repair. Whether it's a tractor, baler, your cutter, your combine, or air seeder, Freedom Repair comes to you and helps you get fixed up and back in the field. 19 plus years experience. Give Lucas Kelly a call at 701-440-1945. That's 701-440-1945. Freedom Repair, veteran owned and operated. MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Mo Rest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer. Western Frontier Insurance, agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or talking animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered with price in mind. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, Wilton, Bowman, and Hettinger. Piper's Auction and Realty would like to invite you to the next round of land auctions coming up in Mercer County, 589 acres. In Grant and Sioux counties, 1,952 acres. Another 160 acres in Renville County and 636 acres in Bottineau County. Along with that, the Upper Midwest timed online auction starting to close February 12th. For more information and to bid online, go to pifers.com.
On that road, but don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition continues on another Saturday morning in the Great Dakota Territory, as I like to call it here. I think Wayne Muth, don't you agree? We should have just kept it the Dakota Territory, shouldn't we? Or
I think so.
Yeah, I
It sounds
think
a lot better. You bet.
Sounds tougher. It sounds like more Wild West type things. That's what it
Exactly.
sounds like here. Anyway, so before we went into break, I said, remind me of something. And what I
Yep.
was going to ask you is, you were talking about some states have seasons where you can shed
Mhm.
hunt. And so my question to you is, are you for that or against it? Because in my mind, like if I seen that there's a season, that means when I'm out rounding up cattle and I run across something, or if I'm up in my fields leveling molehills in the middle of summer, I won't be able to pick them up.
Yeah, that's true. I think, and like what I said before, I think some of these areas I think need it. I think most states are legal on all public lands or private lands as well. But like Wyoming's January 1st through April 30th, which you can do it, but it's illegal during that time, so you have to wait till after that. And then, but I think most ranchers are still going to probably pick them up because you don't want them in your tires,
Exactly.
your vehicles
Yeah.
and whatnot. But I think it's good for most part because in these wildlife management areas, there's a lot of elk sheds, and it gets the people out there and get them to pick those up and whatnot, and that's all fine. Instead of having them out there all year and during the times that the elk are, maybe more compromised after the hard winter. So, but for North Dakota, it's all open. I know down at the wildlife refuge in Wyoming, they have the Boy Scouts pick up a lot of those. They do, and they donate it to their funds down there. So that's good, as long as they keep it Boy Scouts. I think it's good. In Nevada, you need permits. I think you said Idaho. You said you need permits too. You said
Idaho is moving to, you need non-residents need a big game hunting license. And,
sure.
Yeah. I mean, I see it as extra income. Sure. I get that. I really do. But, one thing the person's got to see too is you see some of these guys, some of these old farmers and ranchers buildings, they got a shed filled with them. Right. I mean, just an outbuilding just filled with sheds, and some make Christmas tree. I mean, instead of just sitting there. I mean, you couldn't turn them into some pretty good cash though.
Yeah, you
And
can.
if that's India, some people love just to hang on to them and not do anything with
Right.
them. I do that
Yeah,
with I like certain ones. You can see at my YouTube channel. I got them hanging from the ceiling here, but
Yeah.
a lot of those you can get some decent money for, and especially the smaller ones that's not as impressive. I did a couple knives. I made a couple knives, made some handles out of them, and some jewelry type things and some rings. But it takes, I don't have the
Yeah.
patience to do that anymore.
Yeah. And I've heard of some places that some guys will just cut the burrs off because they just want the burrs. And I don't think that practice is happening as much anymore because there's more of a value to the antler. But a lot of guys use the burrs. They make buckles out of them. I've gotten a few through the North Dakota Bowhunters Association for
Yep.
like the largest animal taken out of that species or something. So, but yeah, they're really nice in that regard. But there's so many crafts you could do with them. I've seen, business card holders to, of course, everybody's seen the chandeliers and whatnot, but
Yeah,
it's
lamps
all
and
pretty,
everything.
yeah, the lamps, you name it. So they
So-
could do a lot.
Text comes in, says, "Good morning, gents. Great show. For someone who's collected sheds over the years and has never sold any of them, who do you contact around here?" And he said, "See you next Saturday, Wayne."
Oh, yes. You can contact, I talked to Kerry Hansen from Hansen Hide and Fur. He's out of South Dakota.
Yep.
He makes his routes through here. His number is 605-396-7469. You could text me or something if you want that number, or look him up online on Facebook. He asked if I was talking to him about some fur prices so I can be up to date on them and antler shed prices. So yeah, contact him. He's got a different price line, depends on the quality of those, so it's really kind of nice. He's got a good business, and he buys lots of coyotes, and not as many of the lower end ones nowadays.
Yeah.
He's saying, but
Gotta be
the
good
higher
ones.
end ones, he's still picking them up. Yep.
All right, let's go to the phone lines here. Mr. Nelson, how are you doing this morning? What's on your mind today?
Yeah, good morning. Say, in the early 80s, I had the opportunity to work for an outfitter, Don Merritt, out of Helena, Montana, Wild Country Outfitters, and we went up into the Bob Marshalls, and one of the guides, and I am not going to say his name, but he was an illegal horn hunter in Yellowstone, I suppose in the 70s. And he would hike into Yellowstone in the winter and pick out mountaintops that didn't have any snow. And he'd note those, and he'd write them down where they were. And then the next spring, he'd hike into those areas and collect the antlers from elk. And this was highly illegal.
Yep.
But he'd get away with it. They'd go into Yellowstone with Cadillacs and Lincolns with big trunks, and sometimes they'd have U-Haul trailers. They made thousands and thousands of dollars. And they had kind of a cat and mouse game with the Rangers. The Rangers knew what was happening, and they would, try to catch them, and it was kind of fun. And a buddy of this guy's got the idea. They'd collect all these horns and they'd stockpile them and then try to sneak them out. Well, his buddy got the idea to float them out on the river. And I don't remember which river it was. But then he had somebody down, I think it was on inner tubes and stuff. Then he had a buddy down river that would catch it when it come out of the park. And they thought it was a pretty good idea. Well, this guy did that, and he disappeared. And they found him killed with a bullet hole in his head.
Oh, geez.
And
really?
This guide I knew thought it was a ranger that did it. It couldn't be proved.
Wow.
But after that, it got nuts. FBI came in, and this guide I knew actually had to leave, and he spent a couple years in Hawaii because they had a warrant out for his arrest.
Yeah.
But the stories he told about, and then after that, it got real serious.
Yeah.
Then antler hunting in Yellowstone wasn't worth the trouble because they really cracked down after this guy was killed.
It's crazy.
But,
I mean,
but anyway, that's
just over an antler, right? I mean,
right.
Yeah, unbelievable.
But they were making thousands. They could buy Cadillacs and Lincolns. They were making thousands of dollars off those horns. And I don't think you could find them. You didn't have the elk out in the private areas like they did in the park.
Yeah.
Right.
And
yeah.
I know one time he said he found a deadhead that was worth, and he still had it at the time. He had it hid away because if people found out about it, they'd try to steal it. But it was worth thousands of dollars just as deadhead.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Very something similar to that, Scott, is that we were living in Billings during the 1988 fires in the park. Well, that spring, Judy and I went through the park really early. It was when the roads were open, but the snows were so heavy in there that there was dead elk laying all over. And you can see where the snowmobile tracks were coming up to the elk and where their antlers were cut off. And we had heard that it was some of the locals out of like Cody, Wyoming and things like that. They would come in at night. They'd know where these elk are and they'd come in at night or sneak in and try to get those antlers cut off. And I wasn't sure if that was the case or it was the ranger authorities that did it so nobody else got them or how that worked. But yeah, that was very, very touchy there too with all these dead elk laying all over in the park. But yeah, the antlers are something that are sought after. Everybody likes them.
Yeah, it is. Well, Scott, thanks for the phone call this morning. Have yourself a great weekend.
Yeah, you too.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Scott.
You bet. Thanks a lot here. A couple of questions here. Gene Cox here out of Mobert says, if I understood it, you can't take antlers from any federal wildlife areas today. Well, I don't know what I'm not sure on that. I think they have certain rules and regulations, and it changes from state to state and even from portions of the state within itself. So the best thing is if you're going shed hunting in a certain area, the best thing is to contact a conservation officer and get the information. Another one comes in that says, is a person supposed to get a tag for a deadhead if you find it? That's what I've been told. I know in North Dakota, yes, you need a deadhead tag. And here's another thing I found out the hard way this spring, like a month ago, right? You can't move that deadhead. And so I was fencing and I found a elk deadhead, and I picked it up and I brought it home and I talked to the game warden. And he's like, well, you can't remove it. I'm like, no, you can't move it. I'm like, well, if that's the case, I said, you're only going to get in there if we're going to go be on horseback. And so you cannot pick it up. You got to leave it where it is. And evidently, and this is in North Dakota, that what I was told, Zach says that you need to go and take them out and show it before you can get a deadhead tag put on it. Which I don't know if I agree with that one a whole lot. I can understand, in some instances, but man, that's a long ways out in some of these areas to take somebody back just to get a deadhead tag. The guy's going to just leave it lay probably.
Right. And I think I had heard something in regards that if you contact them when you're standing over the deadhead, you can take a picture of it and show them that. And sometimes they will let you take it at that point. I know that's happened in certain cases, but I would imagine it's up to the discretion of the game warden or whoever you're talking to.
Right.
And if it's a federal warden or a state game warden, I think it makes a difference as well. Because I had I saw an antelope when I was out. I was out scouting, I believe. There was an antelope that had been hit by a car. He was in the alfalfa field. It was an antelope buck, and his back was broken. He was just dragging his hind end. So anyway, I did contact had to be a federal game warden for the area that I was in, and he came out and put it out of its misery. He had dispatched it, and then I was able to keep the horns on it. Mm-hmm. And but you can get those permits also for the meat and the horns. Yep. If you contact them. So
another thing too, you got to remember is if you're going to take like deadheads and sell the antlers, a lot of the buyers, they want them sawed off. Even if you have a deadhead tag on it, they don't want the whole cap and everything. Yeah. They want them sawed off of there. So if you do have that and you saw them off, make sure to like zip tie them together with that tag so it goes along with it.
Right. And the tag, even your hunting tags, if you pick up deadheads from years ago and you have them, you have to do some explaining if you ever get questioned about them, because nowadays you're supposed to have a tag for every deadhead you have,
Yeah.
whether it's one you've taken and you've done a European mount on it, you should have a tag for that.
Yep.
So that's something to think about as you're, hanging on to that stuff that are valuable to you. So that's kind of crazy.
And it's a eye opener for some of these older generations that have been saving all of them. I mean, like I said, they got them yard art, right? I mean, you go to some of these places, they got them hanging on the fences you're coming in, even our old cabin out here, right? I mean, you see antlers hanging all over the place. So you just got to make sure that, they're, if you're going to have them displayed, you need a tag on it of some sort.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, you bet.
Now we're scaring like 90% of the people listening are like, gee.
Yeah, don't go out and pick up antlers.
Well, no, they're like, I gotta go hide my deadheads that I thought was legal to have. Right? I mean, you see something like that with the skull all fractured up and it's still intact. You grab it and you throw it in your garden. You need a tag on that. So, yeah,
it's kind of crazy. But it's interesting though. There's that how the shed hunting has gotten to be so popular.
Yeah,
and of course with that it's kind of nice, but
well, that's look at the extra income, like Brown's Hunting Ranch down in South Dakota. I talked to him. They got their pheasant hunting area where, they like 1,000 acres where they have to put so many pheasants back in South Dakota if you take some out. And every year before they start farming that ground, they take a group of kids, or maybe it might be, like you said, a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout, or maybe they just have a big party and they go through and they walk this with dozens and dozens of people and pick up these sheds as they go through, and they kind of have prizes for who gets the most or the biggest or all that. So it's an extra little thing for a lot of these farm and ranches to make an extra little dime, probably.
Yep, you bet.
Pay some for salt and mineral out there.
Yeah, not leaving them for the porcupines to eat. So, but so do you? One of the things I like to do is leave my trail cameras out. I leave them out all year, and one of the things when I check them is looking for deer who have shed their antlers. So you kind of get a time frame of when that's happening. Do you leave your trail cameras out?
I do
all
not.
Year? Or?
No, I bring them back. So I switched over to these ones that send you pictures, and so I bring them back in, and if I have like a water tank, or if it's not artesian, like this spring when I start moving things for calving, I'll put them in different water tanks, different areas, just so I can check it on my phone a little bit quicker if they're serving. I mean, we still have an area where there's not a lot of cell phone service.
Right. So a lot of mine are just the SD cards, and they're not the transmitting types. But you still get to see. I feel as if you get to see, what bucks made it through the season, when they're shedding. The health of the herd, if there's a lot of predators around. And that's one thing I really see is a lot of predators on these trails. It's amazing. And
coyotes are thick this year.
Yeah.
And other predators as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And talking to the fur buyers, they're saying how many furs are out there, how many coyotes. And he said, they could buy lots of furs because there's tons of them out there, but they just no value to the lower end of them. So.
Yeah. Well, we hope that turns around. It'd be nice to see $100 on, or at least $60 to $70 on carcass, right? $100 green skin and up from there, which it'd be nice to get back to those days, because you had a lot more people going out after those coyotes.
Right. Exactly. And we could touch on Colorado a little bit. They did release the second set of wolves. Yep. There's 15 wolves out of Alberta that they released on January 15th, I think it was. So it makes 29 total, but they had wolves down there before that were collared. A friend of mine who does a lot of hunting in that area where they're releasing them, he's told me, he said the ranchers down there have talked to the Game and Fish Department about the wolves that have already been there. And now these wolves apparently are bigger and more aggressive. So, who knows what's going to happen, because they're moving further south and further east. And, the Montana, the problem with some of this is that the activists that are putting this out there, they keep on changing the rules and regulations and the goalposts, if you will, because they did the same thing in Montana where they're saying, hey, when we get a goal of 30 to 40 animals and let's say 4 to 5 breeding pairs, that's what we want. Then you can start, managing these as a hunting thing. Well, now there's 124 wolves and 11 packs and 6 breeding pairs. I mean, how do you, and they don't want to have the hunting available to them. Well, as we knew, I think it was 2 years ago when they opened up the hunting in Montana, they had a quota of 200 wolves. And in 3 days, they filled that quota.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's a lot of wolves out there that are, people really don't realize. And it impacts the wildlife and your big game. So we hopefully can avoid having that in North Dakota.
It scares me too is, if you have a trouble wolf, a trouble bear that they're having issues with and they do catch it and trap it, then they relocate it to another area.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's still a
Right.
troubled wolf. It's still a troubled bear. It's not like it's going to change its theory and philosophy and say, I'm going to be a better person today.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just, that's what really gets me too is they need to look at that. But Wayne, coming up against there, tell us a little bit of in 30 seconds, some of the shows coming up on Ranch America. A lot of people have been watching them.
Yeah, that's good. Well, last night was the show. It was called a Rough Rider show. That's where we had, our mounted shooting, and we did the Cowboy Hall of Fame and a little bit of Rusty's. Lance and Sonny Freilich were on there, and 40 Steak and Seafood. Now, the next show coming up has got some Kiss Livestock and Hermanson Horse Sale. That's next week. Following week, we'll have some Blackleg Ranch and Mabel's All Day Foods. And then a couple episodes down the road in it'll be in March, I believe, will be Scotty's episode. February 28th, I have it listed. Will be the Back in the Saddle, where you can watch Scott do some his ranching.
Drink
down
beer.
there.
Well, all right, Wayne, thanks for coming on the program. Have yourself a great day. Everybody else, thanks for tuning in today. Have yourself a great weekend. Enjoy. Eat some meat, drink some milk, and wear fur. All right, stations, thank you. Wayne, I appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you very much. I'll
good conversation.
Yeah. It's so easy. I love shed hunting. I really enjoy shed hunting a lot. And,
so do I.
I mean, like you said, a guy can. I mean, it's been a little bit tougher, but now with the elk, now I'm putting on areas and hiking more and more, trying to get after some of those too now. So
right, and when up on our property up at north of Medora ways, we were up there and we saw 6 beautiful bulls in the trees just standing there, and one real nice 6-pointer, and the other ones are in the 280s to 300s probably.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope they hang around there and lose their sheds. So I can run in there and pick some up. But we have our banquet next week and such. So
we forgot to announce that.
We should have mentioned that.
But send me a text with a flyer and I can mention on the daily program.
Okay, we'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I gotta let you run. I gotta get rolling here.
Okay.
I got too many things in the fire right now. So
yeah, all right, yeah. Always busy, man, isn't it?
Well, here I'm gonna go off YouTube and tell you what's going on here. YouTube, thanks guys. I appreciate you.